We've got one more class to talk about, and that is Class B. Class B has been dominated all season long by Northwestern area. They have been absolutely everything they've been expected to do. First match, Northwestern, Bridgewater-Emery. We talked a lot about Northwestern, but Bridgewater-Emery earns a spot in the state tournament. They've got their hands full in this matchup, don't they?
Well, they're up against the Northwestern because the Wildcats play so many girls, and so they have girls that have experience. Not to mention go along with Shell and and Groff, they're two superstars, if you will. They have 8 or 9 girls that have played in a state championship match already, and they are rotating, so they're fresh, right? They're comfortable, and they have played a very difficult schedule. So for Bridgewater-Emery, definitely have their work cut out for them.
I think serving will be a really, really big thing for Bridgewater-Emery, which maybe isn't something that teams focus on maybe a ton. But I think, you talk about getting on teams early. It's the very first contact. They have a chance to really jump on them and see if they can create an upset.
Yeah, Bridgewater-Emery, I was just looking at their stats, average 2.5 aces per set. So they definitely have that in their repertoire. They got their work cut out for them, that's for sure. Let's move on to that 4-5 matchup. Faith takes on Warner, the defending champion Warner team, who looks a lot different than last year. But let's start with that Faith Warner matchup. What are your first thoughts, Haley?
Well, I think it'll be a really fun matchup because I think both teams have kind of a youthful feel to them. They're both pretty young, which almost is more exciting sometimes. And I think that they both don't necessarily have those superstar offensive players. They move the ball around. Again, Ava Nilsson is a fantastic setter, and that's one of the reasons she's a fantastic setter. She gives the hot player the ball. She gives multiple players the opportunity to score.
Well, and I think with Faith, they were that great story last year when they were opening round, pushing in the semifinal, in the semifinal matchup. So they are not new, and trust me, they will come in with the chip on their shoulder, trying to earn the respect, right? And just be interesting to see if Warner can put a full match together, which has been troublesome at times, not making the mistakes.
But I'm really excited to watch players like Ayanna Bird of Faith. She's a younger girl that's really caught our eye this season. She's 6 foot tall. She's a huge player in the middle, and I think if she can kind of move the ball around and kind of get some big kills, get her team going, it's going to be a really interesting game.
All right, let's move to the 3-6 matchup. Ethan and Burke. Darren, you want to get us started on the big Ethan-Burke matchup? Some good names, too, to talk about.
Yeah, some great names. And a couple of names, Jada Plastow, and then
Cameron Logan is their other outside, I believe. But those two kind of split the offense.
But then Burke, you want to talk about adversity with everything they've gone through, probably higher than a 6 seed. So they're a team kind of like a Sioux Falls, Washington a little bit in AA, where they haven't had their lineup for more than maybe 8 to 10 matches the entire year. When they've had them, they've had some big wins.
Yeah, and they're not shy about their goals. I mean, they have said since the beginning of the season that they want to win a state championship title, and they have been there.
Chester area taking on Faulkton, and when we started the season, these two were in everybody's top 5, and they end up at the state tournament. Great matchup. What do you think, Haley?
Faulkton, one of their, their go-to hitter is Peyton Melius, so obviously a very offensive-minded team maybe at this point. And Chester is very defensive-minded with players like McKenna Larson, who is an outside who has very valuable experience at the libero position, over 2,000 digs in her career, which she hit at the beginning of the season too.
Well, and I think it's a little bit different because when you talk to Jean, and Coach Benson, but Chester, she's like, hey, none of these girls played a major role. This is their first time, other than probably Larson being in. So a lot of these girls are new, even though they've had a great year, they're talented. She's like, this is their chance. So they've gone through a lot of things for the first time. Where Faulkton, a lot of experience back off last year's state tournament team.
It's so hard to make it to Friday night. Some of these matchups are going to be so cool, but overarching thoughts on how this thing will play out and what teams maybe need to do to knock off Goliath here.
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, serving is going to be huge, and whenever you're playing in a new environment, that does take a huge toll. So I think teams need to come into Wednesday and use that practice to really get a feel for the gym, make it their own home court,
the difference between winning and advancing and falling back is going to be very minimal, right? And because of that, you have to keep attacking. If teams come out, they don't play aggressive, if they get, if they get a little bit nervous midway through a match, set 2, set 3, and quit attacking, I think it's going to cost them. The team that will advance here will be, even through Thursday.
Right.
If you want to advance through Thursday, I think you have to attack
100% on target because, Faith Warner feels like a 50-50. Ethan Burke, you could see that going either way. And Chester Faulkton, even at 2-7, Faulkton has the talent to do a lot of big things in this tournament. So I'm really looking forward to the Bees.